Hello and welcome to the Hampden Roar Podcast. Scotland's March friendlies are done and dusted. Another defeat last night. 1-0 again, Ivory Coast taking care of us down at Everton Stadium. We're here to review how that all went. I'm your creator and host, Andy Barge, and I'm joined by Alan Risk from the Air Force One Twitter page. Hello.
Hello, Andy, and cheers for having me. Looking forward
Not
to
at all.
discussing this.
Thanks for stepping in with Thomas and Callum to help host the pod in my absence at the weekend. That was much appreciated. Really enjoyed listening to you guys reviewing the Japan game. And today we're joined by coach and analyst Dougie Anderson. Hello there.
How we doing, Andy?
Good. I think it's been a wee while since you've been on. Definitely pushing last summer, or if not much longer than that.
I was on at the World Cup draw night.
I feel like we've had you on more than that. God, no,
yeah,
we'll
just
need to
once
fix
before that. So I think this is my hat trick ball
The
today.
hat trick, okay. Okay, well let's get stuck into it, boys. I obviously didn't see the Japan game. I'm only going off highlights and the podcast that the boys produced, various articles, and it sounded pretty tame. It looked like were struggling to figure out a way to score against a team who are good, as they proved again last night, going to Wembley and winning. And it just maybe all felt a wee bit friendly-ish, is my understanding of it. So last night, same result, this time against Ivory Coast. Alan, was it much better? Did we see a better Scotland last night than we did on at the weekend on Saturday?
Obviously, we've got the same result to kind of pour over. However, there was a marked change in the aggression and the intent, I think, from Scotland last night compared to the Japan game. Obviously, trying a new system, well, not a new system, but going with the 3-5-2, and you've got kind of a load of new players. That was exciting. A really interesting lineup. Hurst getting a lot of minutes there and a real opportunity. And I think he was one that a lot of people would have formed a better opinion of. 14 shots, more on target. I think it was maybe four than Ivory Coast. Only a couple of real chances, but in terms of getting into the final third and getting crosses, and we definitely did that much more often. It's just, again, as you said, it's that ability to score. That's a problem.
Do you have a keen eye for the context and the inner workings of a football team? So, what was good about Scotland last night?
So I think you can see in the first 10 minutes, I think we did press a lot higher. Like Alan said, we were much more aggressive. We won the ball higher up on more occasions. And just played a bit with a bit more intensity than we did against Japan. Like even there was like Gilmore flying into tackles and stuff last night. We didn't really see that aggression against Japan or that speed of play. So I think for definitely the first 10 minutes and then the last sort of half hour, I would say were pretty good in terms of our attacking play. It's just that quality, that real quality in the final third, I would say is a bit lacking.
Is it quality and decision making tying together for you, Dougie? Because these boys are quality. They might not be top level players, but they have produced for us before, and they are employed at a good level throughout Britain and or Europe a lot of the time. So that, from where I see it, and this could be wrong, comes from when the boys are crossing from the middle third into the final third of the park. There is a lack of intuition, almost like that they don't really know how to then take the next step, and when they do, it's the wrong pass or the wrong cross or a turn backwards. There doesn't seem to be in my opinion right now, a belief that they can force their way in behind a team. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are lacking pace, like as you said, about getting in behind the team. But yeah, I think it is a real quality is missing. Like you look at Hurst, I think 8 goals this season for Ipswich in the Championship. It's not exactly brilliant. Adams, obviously, yeah, playing at Torino. Don't know how many he's scored, but I don't think it's too many. And then just with the 3-5-2 last night, obviously, you've got McCrory sort of up and down the right hand side. You've got Robertson up and down the left hand side. And I mean, at the end of the day, they are defenders. Obviously, Robertson's a good crosser of the ball, but there was times last night where he was in the box, and you would rather have a sort of more attacking player in the box to have that creativity, to have that intuition. So yeah, I think it is, like you said, we are missing those things, but it's just a real lack of quality at the top end of the pitch, I think. And also, probably lacking just a bit of cohesion. Like, that was the first time we played 3-5-2 in I don't know how long, probably the Ukraine World Cup playoff. I think when we have played three at the back, it's been more of a 3-4-3. So first time we played 3-5-2 in a while. And then, yeah, first time probably Hurst and Adams have played together. So, yeah, probably lacking just a bit of cohesion at the top end as well.
In midfield, actually, Alan, just on that cohesion thing, I put out a tweet at half time saying that I felt that Christie and Gilmore's passing had been quite far off the mark, and somebody replied saying, "Oh, Gilmore's only misplaced 4 out of his 40 passes." And fair enough, the numbers proved me wrong in that instance. It might have just been that the three that I could recall off the top of my head were blatantly obvious ones that then mars the rest of his passing record in the first half. I thought Christie was loose with his passing. His, I thought, were forward passes. He was trying to play it into the channels or into the striker's feet, and it looked like kind of getting held up in the grass. It looked like a really heavy surface, and the ball was slowing up quite quickly. But they just couldn't really find a rhythm to progress from midfield into the forward areas. Hurst, I think, is the player that comes out with the most credit from last night. I thought he looked like he had a wee bit about him to not just link up, but make things happen on his own. Like, he had a nice couple of shoulder drops and drifts in field and trying to get the shot away. So I wonder if he's really propelled himself into or propelled himself more prominently in Clark's thinking last night. Is there anyone else that if you look at had an opportunity? McCrory, Hyam, Suter back in, Tierney, the 3-5-2. Any observations there?
Yeah, I think the biggest one will probably be taken away will be the Hurst. I felt like there was a real aggression about his game, and a real just he looked like he wanted a goal. Couple of good shots from range that, I mean, at the very least, you're taking away. He's taking the shots. I think a couple went over the bar or just wide. He got into that near post header from, I think it was from a crosser from the corner late on. So he's the one that looked like the most likely to score away from McTominay. But in terms of elsewhere, I thought McCrory was fine. I thought there was arguments in terms of his link up play getting forward and his balls in. I did enjoy seeing Patterson come on. I thought he gives us more. But I thought in terms of having him as a backup, I thought McCrory performed all right in that position.
I don't think we're any closer to knowing who Hickey's backup is.
That's fair. Yeah. If Patterson gets no game time between now and the World Cup, I mean, what do we do there? Because he's shown that he's a little bit rusty, and you kind of need him to play a good number of games to kind of get back up to his best. So yeah, no, I think from the centre of the park, Christie and Gilmore, I'll just do a little bit more on that. I was the same as you, saw the same passes, and initially thought he's really off it a little bit tonight, Gilmore. But I guess a lot of his passes that he's misplacing, it looked to me as passes that Gilmore would usually make. I was going to go back. He scored a goal, or Inda scored a goal for Brighton, and Gilmore done this incredible through ball from the halfway line, and he's got that precision. And when you see simpler passes, you expect him to make them. So yeah, the 3 or 4 stand out. I think he did. He played the one into was it into McTominay for the McTominay chance, but forced a save in the first half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he was involved quite heavily, and he was very forward thinking with his passing. But again, he's another one who just came back from injury. So yeah. Biggest one I think was Hurst for me.
I think the goalie situation is more interesting now as well. Liam Kelly's been the third, sometimes second choice keeper for what feels like maybe 2 years now. I thought he was pretty slow for that goal. The reaction, he maybe caught ball watching a wee bit. Scotland generally, Tierney lets his man run off him. He's focusing on the ball at that point as well. And then Scott Bain comes on and he has a tangible impact by making definitely at least one really good save, and he might have had another decent stop as well, if I remember correctly. I wonder if Craig Gordon is fit at all, regardless of game time. Is he going to go? Oh, it'd be so sad for Craig Gordon if he didn't make it. But let's proceed on the assumption, which could be a wrong one, that it will be Gunn, Gordon, and someone else if Gordon's fit. I wonder if Bain is maybe nudged ahead of Kelly into third choice or maybe even second choice just now, Dougie?
Yeah, I think Bain, obviously with that save last night, definitely helped his cause. Kelly did look a bit off it for that goal, just in terms of, like you said, reaction. I think if he reacts quicker and then goes with his hands instead of his feet, he possibly, gets it, or at least gets closer. So yeah, I think Bain definitely maybe the forerunner for that third spot now. But Clark likes to keep a similar squad, and Kelly has been in the squad for a lot, like you said. So he's probably good around the squad and the dressing room and stuff like that. So you never know if Clark he may just stick with Kelly, because it's unlikely he'll play in the World Cup anyway.
How much context do you think we need to consider here for the opposition, who I believe, anyway, I mean, I'm certainly no expert on Ivory Coast, watered their side down slightly for last night and looked like they were just coasting in the second half. That they weren't, they had a lead, they were happy to kind of knock it about and counter here and there. And I thought we actually struggled defending counter attacks quite a wee bit last night. We looked like we were a bit harem scarum. So let's kind of sum it up as Ivory Coast were in second gear, okay, for that second half as we cranked it up a wee bit to coexist with that. Thought McGinn coming on was a positive influence. I thought there were a few passes in the first 5 minutes of the second half, one from Suter, one from Gilmore, was it? Yeah, when it was kind of infield and then just immediately round the corner for the striker to chase in behind or for the wing back to latch onto. And I thought, okay, here we go, a bit more intent here. So, although that is good to see, a bit more intent, drive, I think it is important contextually to note that we were playing a team that were weaker and or within themselves. Is that being a bit too skeptical or glass half empty?
No, I think it's a fair point you make, and it's something that I struggle with as well. I don't want to be too negative. There's been quite a bit of press this week about some of the fans booing at the end of both games and things like that. So trying not to be too negative, but you're absolutely right. Ivory Coast did change their side a little bit last night. Like Ahmed Diallo didn't start, came off the bench. Adingra came off the bench. So yeah, if you were being cynical, you could say that we lost 1-0 to a weakened Ivory Coast side. So and possibly we should be doing better. Yeah, but it's hard. They are friendlies. There is a new formation that we've tried. We did look better than we played on Saturday. So yeah, positives and negatives, I think.
Alan, are you one of the fans who is feeling frustrated that Lennon Miller perhaps didn't get any minutes? Maybe it would have been handy to have a look at Andy Irving, or would you like to have seen Finlay Curtis on the park again last night, given that we do need a viable option when Ben Gannon-Doak's not available? What do you reckon? Anyone else?
Yeah, I think Lennon Miller's the one. When you've got him playing quite well, consistently getting minutes now, that's added an element to his game, showing that determination across there in Italy. And I think it does. It's Kenny McLean's obviously now. He's been immortalised for a while, but I think we know what he can do, and that's where the frustration comes from. It's Kenny McLean's going to go to the World Cup, no questions asked. Lennon Miller's going to go to the World Cup, but we've not seen an awful lot of him. I guess just breaking into the team, I can't imagine minutes are going to be an issue because it's not exactly like he's got any. So yeah, I think that's one of the most frustrating ones. Curtis, he's had some minutes. I don't think Curtis will go in the end. I think when you've got Doak back fit, we've seen Conway being used out there. I don't expect it. So I don't know what you're.
Did you see Curtis's goal the other week? Where for Kelly?
Yeah,
No?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That that I genuinely think that the clip of that pace alone should bump him up to serious contention.
yeah. But we've seen. I mean, if you look at the calls for somebody like Burke to come into the squad, if we're looking at raw pace and even like Curtis has proven that he's got the finishing ability that Burke's sort of lacking that consistency, and I think Curtis will get in squads. So yeah, you're right in that aspect, but we don't take that many players like that, and when Doak's fit, unfortunately, it's just well, we'll be fortunate if he's fit and can go, but that's
Mm.
going to be the player who's going to provide that. And it's unfortunate and it's a shame that our goal scoring ability looks to rely almost, and I don't want to say rely on because we have got so many quality players in the squad, but we almost need him
Oh, aye.
to create that spark.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. We need to have a second option in that regard, Dougie, because when we did win the ball back from Ivory Coast, be it relatively high up, but let's just say in the middle third or when we broke down one of their attacks, when we moved forward, we so rarely looked like we would finish it off, that we would actually get into a position to even have a shot, never mind score it. There was one where Hurst, I think, picked up the ball, or he certainly beat somebody about 25 yards out, and he had a shot on the edge of the box that went over. Could have played in Ferguson, and that is I think the only time that we really, again, somebody could fire some clips at me that disproved this, but I think there weren't any or many other times apart from that where we won the ball and then had something tangible to show for it at the end of the subsequent transition.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of times where we've had a couple of shots from outside the box, especially the first 10 minutes. I think Tierney had one, a cross-come shot type thing. And then we had, like I said, last 15 minutes, Robbo on the left, put a couple of crosses in the box. But yeah, it was just that final third that really let us down. Just on Curtis, I think, yeah, he's one that you would maybe take with the 26-man squad. If you look at our winger options, it's literally Doak or bust, really. I mean, Conway played on the left against Japan, but he's not really an out-and-out winger that's going to take people on. He's more of a sort of inside forward, a striker playing on the left side. So I think Curtis would be your only backup. I would have liked to have seen him get some minutes last night. Just even in the last 50 minutes, like you said, where Ivory Coast were sitting in a bit coasting, you could say. I'm pretty sure Kelly fans might quote me wrong on this, but I think Curtis played wing back in one of the games recently. I think he may have got a couple of assists. May have been the St Mirren game, can't remember. But he played really well at wing back. I think when a team's camped in like that, would you rather have a full back playing wing back, or would you rather have a winger playing wing back to be more creative? And I would have liked to have seen Curtis get 10 minutes last night, 15 minutes. And I think that's where some of the fans' frustrations come from. Like, did Kenny McLean need to come on the pitch last night for 20 minutes? Probably not. Could Miller have got those 20 minutes just to show what he could do? That sort of youthful enthusiasm. Yeah, I think that's why the fans get frustrated more easily, I would say.
There seems to be a bit of a misunderstanding, I think, here between the message that the players are sending out after games and what fans actually want, Alan.
Yeah.
So the McGinn in his pre-match presser was basically saying, it doesn't matter if we lose friendlies, who cares? They're just friendlies as long as we keep qualifying for tournaments. And then after the game, Andy Robertson was saying it seems to be the way now. You lose a game, you get booed. So I actually don't really think people were booing because we got beat by Japan or because we got beat by Ivory Coast last night. And for the record, I'm not a booer myself at a game. I do think people they're entitled to voice their opinion if they want. It's not something I particularly agree with, but hey, it happens. I think the boos are because we look devoid of ideas or creativity. And we're quite a slow team. It's not because we got beat by two teams who are factually over the last 10 years consistently better than us. I don't think it's because we lost 1-0 to both of them. I think it's because we look insipid in our play and slow. And I think this is a display of anxiety in the lead up to our tournament that it's going to go the same way as Euro 2024 did, where we approached that not in fine fettle at all. Struggled to, was it, I think we had one win in 8 or one win in 9 when the tournament kicked off, and that was against Gibraltar. That run obviously stretched on a wee bit longer. So I think that the vocalising after games is actually just these worries, be almost like being a precursor to what could come here, and basically sharpen up, because if we go to the tournament in this shape, we're going to get absolutely bombed out. So it's not because, as Robertson says, if you lose a game you get booed. It's I don't think that is the case. I think surely somebody in the SFA has got to probably read the room here. I mean, the SFA media team and the guys are full of Scotland fans. Like they probably know why this is happening. It's not because we're losing games. It's because we've put in a couple of performances where we haven't really looked like scoring a goal, I would suggest.
No, you're right. It is definitely it's just vocalising that pre-tournament anxiety. That's what it is, because there was an element of we've scored 4 goals against Denmark, which is not it's not that's should be celebrated exactly for what it was, an incredible game. Probably one of the best many of us will ever experience at Hampden. But hopefully not. Hopefully there's more than that. But 4 goals is for this Scotland team is highly unusual.
But Alan,
And
just to provide context on that as well, the four goals that we scored, 3 of them were I don't well, one of them was once in a lifetime, maybe 2 of them were once in a lifetime. The other one was a relatively rare goal from a Scotland team, and the other one was from a set play, which we have relied on over the course of the qualifying campaign.
yeah, and you're right. And I think one element from last night that added an element of like kind of additional worry for me was we had loads of set plays. I think 7 corners and loads of crosses in the box, and we just couldn't. Ivory Coast defended them all. I wouldn't say with total ease, but it looked very comfortable for them to kind of get rid of them, barring the odd one or two. So in terms of set pieces, we're not there as the same as we were. But yeah, as you were saying, they're vocalising a pre-tournament anxiety that is not. Again, I'm the same as you. I don't condone it, whether that's club level or international level. I don't like it. But what you would say is, if it's the people who've been to the last 2 tournaments, it's understandable. Because if you've done the build up to 24, and then you've went and watched those performances, obviously from the Germany game or the Hungary game, you feel like maybe you've been there, you've seen it, and you can see it happening again. One thing I would say is that it provided me a bit of encouragement when we got to the final third, and there was those elements and those moments of the game where there was times where you're screaming at the TV for Adams to shoot, and just have the courage to take a shot. The positive thing is there was a moment in the first half where McTominay got the ball, rolled out to himself, and then fired in one, forced the keeper to save it. A reasonably comfortable save, but that provided me a little bit of a spark to go, you know what, we've got a guy in the team who can do that. Hurst had that desire, but he just didn't have the quality to do anything that would trouble the keeper. But at least he tried to pop it. And McGinn obviously didn't play the full game, so you're hoping that players like that, when they come in, we didn't play our full complete 11, so maybe we should give it a bit of time and see how it goes. But I totally understand where some people are coming from, because it's that worry. It's that worry going to a tournament and the same thing happening that's happened twice.
What about the shape, Dougie? Do you think that was a trial last night for, if we don't have Ben Gannon Doak available, what do we do?
Yeah, definitely. Like we were just touching on, it's really Doak or bust for that sort of wide position. He does play Christian McGinn off a side, but he prefers to have one of the wingers to be a true winger. So yeah, if we don't have Doak, I imagine that we will revert back to the 5 or the 3. I think looking at the squad, it suits the profile of the squad. So I think it does look like we will go back to that. Whether that means we'll start with that, I don't know. Like if Doak's fit, I imagine we probably will go the 4. But even then, Doak could play, if we play the 3-4-3, Doak could play sort of one of the 10s and drift a bit wider. Or if we play the 3-5-2, Doak could maybe play up front. I think he played up front for the 21s on a few occasions. So, yeah, I think just looking at the squad, and that Clark didn't give Curtis any more minutes last night. He didn't call up really any other wingers. He's tried Conway off the left, didn't really work. He was okay. I think we probably will revert back to the 5-3-2 or the 5-4-1.
Can you either confirm or dispel the narrative that it is that doing that is at heart defensive?
No, I don't think it's at heart defensive. It's how you, regardless of the formation, it's about your intent. I mean, go and watch the first 10 minutes back last night before they scored, and I think you'll see that even though we were 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it, we did press really high. Adams and Hurst were on the centre backs. Christie or McTominay, depending on what side it was on, would go out and press a full back, and then if it got switched, Robertson would charge all the way up the pitch and go and press their full back. So I think if you have that intention there, you can still be aggressive. You can still, play forward with creativity. It just depends what players you pick and what how you set them up, what you tell them to do. Like, for example, like I was saying earlier about, could Curtis maybe have got the last 10 minutes at wing back last night? Having a more of a winger at one of the wing back positions, to be more creative instead of having a full back there. So yeah, I don't think the formation necessarily is defensive. It's just how you set up.
Again, because McGinn was being asked, I think it was in the build up to this game, about I think it was more about the attacking threat Scotland have, or the fans wanting to see more. And McGinn was saying, yeah, we can fling bodies forward, but we might end up getting hammered at that point. And again, I think this is a misunderstanding. I don't think any realistic Scotland fan wants us just to throw bodies forward without any sort of care or plan in the world. It's about when we do move forward, looking like we can actually trouble an opponent. I think that is the massive question here. And I mean, if we don't beat Haiti in the first game, the prospect of doing that against Morocco or Brazil is a seriously troubling one, Alan, because I mean these are two teams I think Morocco are, I'm sure Brazil are as well, in the top 10, 12 sides in the world. So if Haiti sit in against us, and I haven't done my research on Haiti yet, they might be an absolutely high press machine. I don't know, but let's just say if Haiti sit in against us like Hungary did and say, "Come on, then I'm worried," and I think that's what we need to see more of from the Scotland team, is the ability to break down a structure, rigid or otherwise, and be able to create chances in open play to take advantage from without relying on, as we touched on in the Denmark game, which was great in the moment, but contextually not a long-term solution, screamers and set pieces.
Aye, totally agree with you there. I was looking at the permutations and what there's a data insight X account, I forget the name of, and they looked at how you would get through as a third place team, and it's 3 points minus 2 goal difference. That's kind of what you're looking at. So you need to beat Haiti. I think it's as simple as that, and then be competitive in both the other games. I think we have got the quality in the squad, and the Morocco game, like you say, you could say it was a weakened Ivory Coast side. It was a slightly weakened Scotland side. If we can do what we did in the first 10 minutes across more of the game, there's going to be opportunities created. Might have other players available. There's going to be opportunities there. I think we might surprise ourselves and be more competitive than I think, because say Morocco at the African Cup of Nations, there was a bit of concern. And Brazil, they've got their known weaknesses. So there's going to be opportunities, but the pressure that gets added to those games if we don't get the result in the Haiti game. And Haiti, as we know, if they go in as the underdogs, I mean, I think Callum mentioned one of their friendlies recently. I think it was against Tunisia. they had a man sent off 4 or yellow cards. It could be quite a difficult game. So we really need to kind of at least find out how to score in those games. The Curaçao game should be. I'm really hopeful for that. And if we can get our act together, have people fit, it's just a shame that the next sort of 2 full months building up to that game, you just hope we can regain some of that positivity. But I think last night's performance, there was enough moments in there to kind of keep us positive.
Yeah. I think that positivity is important, Alan, and I think the majority of us at heart still do feel positive and absolutely, bottom line, excited about the World Cup. But it is also okay, I think, for people to want us to do well at the World Cup and not just be there. So, I mean, you see quite a lot of stuff about, Wales didn't qualify and stuff like, oh, well, you know what, we are the ones going to America and stuff, and that is great. We should all be buzzing about it. I think most of us are. But I don't think just going to the World Cup is good enough for this squad of players. I think that we have to aim to compete in our group to get out of it. Even if it is on 3 points, then I mean that's the structure of the tournament these days, Dougie. We go through in 3 points, great. So I think that how do I phrase this? The expectation should not be let's see what we can get. I think it has got to be to make life very difficult for the teams that are better than us and to beat Haiti in the first game, no questions asked. That's where this has to begin. Like, I can't see a compromise on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we've had sort of 2 tournaments like that now under Clark, both Euros, and it's great being there. But we don't just want to sort of peter out at these tournaments anymore. We want to try and get through. We want to showcase the talents of the squad. So yeah, it's not enough anymore. I know it's our first World Cup in 28 years, but I feel like it's not enough anymore just to say, oh well, it's good enough, we're there. We need to put in a good performance and get the fans excited. Because I think, just to touch on your point a minute ago, you spoke about the goals against Denmark and how they were screamers and struggling from open play and stuff like that. Just a quick stat. So only once since the Euros in competitive games have we created more XG than our opponents, and that was Belarus away in open play.
Wow.
We did it against Poland at home as well, but just a bit of context on that. Poland scored 2 penalties, so it doesn't count as open play. So twice if you're counting Poland at home and Belarus away. So it is pre-tournament anxiety that people are worried about our attacking, but it is an issue that's been going on for a while, and we can't rely on set pieces and screamers all the times.
I'm bothered by who cares about that? We're the ones going to the World Cup. I just can't get on board with it. I can't. What about the strikers, Dougie? With your analytical eye, I thought Hurst was good last night in stages. There's quite a few comments coming in the Hampden Roar Twitter. We'll get to them in a second. Basically saying, I think Hurst might have actually booked his spot on the plane last night. So Conway was also there. Adams and Dykes were there. Shanklin wasn't there because he's just come back from injury. What do you reckon for the 5 of those names at the minute? Did Hurst get himself into the thick of it last night for the World Cup?
Possibly for Clark, not sure about for me. I think he's going to take Dykes and Adams anyway, isn't he? So those 2 are set, and then it's between Hurst, Conway, and Shankland. I think Shankland's got. Anytime he's played, I feel like he's been a goal threat. Obviously scored against Denmark, scored against Georgia away, I think. So I would take Shankland as well. I think he's possibly the best finisher out of them all. I think you may need that against Haiti if, like you said, they're going to sit in. I think you need a sort of box presence who's a really good finisher, who's good at snapshots. So yeah, I think Shanklin should be there. So then you're looking at Hurst or Conway. I mean, Hurst was busy last night. I'm not and he got his shots away, like you said, a couple of drops of the shoulder, not bad, but again, it's just not that quite international quality. I don't think I can't see him scoring against Morocco or Brazil. Conway, again, similar, played on the left against Japan. He was busy, he was fine. We probably didn't get him the ball enough in decent situations, but he didn't really create or do anything in the final third that you thought he's definitely should be on the plane. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Dykes, Adams, Shankland, and then, yeah, I don't know. It would have been good to maybe see a Barney Stewart or something this camp. I'm not sure if he's quite ready, but or Kieran Bowie.
I would have had McBurney in, Diggy.
Yeah, but Burnley scored 14 goals, I think, for Hull, which is more than Hurst or Conway scored this season. So, yeah, one of them.
Well, I have a run through of a bit of correspondence here. Michael Grantham, a regular listener. He says, first half was poor, second half we played reasonably well, but without any composure in front of goal. Hurst has improved his chances. Over 2 games, Tierney has shown why he needs to start with Robertson, in my opinion. We've got one, Callum McLean. Again, there's many with a similar opinion to Callum. Very disappointed at the lack of game time for some of the younger players that were called up. Need pace out wide, so bring Curtis on. And even though I thought McLean played quite well, Miller must be wondering what he's got to do to get a chance. Nick Bremner, I think echoing something that we're kind of skating around here, is the lack of dynamism among the strikers and just the movement and the sharpness heading into the final third. Adams seems out of form, Dykes is on the wane, and Hurst isn't up to it. So Nick not having Hurst in comparison to what I think about last night. Mr. Douglas says, compete, that's all the fans are asking for. Just do not sit back for 80 minutes and wish for a late 1-0 win. John Oliver again, it's infuriating. He says that Miller hasn't got a chance and Irving a little bit also. There's one that I would like to scroll down and find because it was very detailed. Oh, Mike Wisniewski, again, another regular listener, just touched on something we said at the start of the pod. It looked like we were really physical last night, flying into tackles. I think Gilmore was singled out, going for every ball and not trying to let the Ivory Coast play too easily. So the effort was the highlight for Max Wisniewski. Here we go. Liam says, much better than Japan, but our attacking issues. No pace without Doak. Hurst looked decent but won't score. Intensity and press was better. Dykes looks like he struggled. Hyam good, but probably fifth choice CB. That's who I wanted to come to. Dom Hyam. Is he the fifth choice CB? Is Jack Hendry still ahead of him, Alan? Is Grant Hanley still ahead of him, Alan? Because I think that McKenna probably is, and probably Suter still as well. But where does Dom Hyam slot into proceedings?
Dom Hyam's a bit of an enigma. Obviously, didn't make a few squads, and then he's come in and he's got the Ivory Coast game. He's played in position, same position he plays for Wrexham. So he's in that system. It made the most obvious choice for that fit. The mix up for the goal. Again, I need to watch it back a few times to see who's specifically responsible. Slow to respond to account a few players, including the keeper, at fault for that. But that aside, I thought he defended reasonably well. But he didn't look super comfortable receiving the ball, and sort of playing it anywhere other than directly to Tierney. So it just depends what kind of system Clark's going to do. And if they're building out from the back, Dom Hyam's solid. I think I felt like when Scott Bain came on, the Falkirk fan of me had the fear immediately, because you never want someone to embarrass themselves or have a mistake on in the national stage, and so I actually had a while to wait for anything, because I felt like as much as Ivory Coast were countering really quickly, as you said, the box was defended really well. And they were kind of between Suter or Hyam or Tierney, etc. They were blocking really anything that was getting close to Bain, so he wasn't forced to make a save until he was. So he didn't have a whole lot to do in the second half, Bain, and I think Hyam was a credit for that. I don't think he did himself a disservice, but exactly as you say, definitely McKenna's ahead of him. It was great to see McKenna. That's him had a few starts under Clark recently. He's there. I think he's brilliant in that position, especially at the back four. Hendry, good to see him back in. Good to see him playing. progressive, good passer of the ball. Probably slightly ahead of Hyam, so I've got Hendry ahead of Hyam for that centre back spot.
Is there anything that strikes you regarding Hyam Dougie that suggests he should be a contender to start games for Scotland this summer?
Again, it probably depends what system Clark picks. If we're playing four at the back, I don't think he gets in ahead of Suter or McKenna. That would be my two starting centre backs. And then if we're playing three at the back, Clark is always going to take Hanley. Not sure. I think he'll probably, if we do play three at the back, Hanley's probably the one that'll play in the middle of the three. I'm not sure if his form at Hibs will affect that, but Clark likes Hanley, and I feel like Hyam would be sort of Hanley's understudy. But then you're looking at, you've got Hendry, Suter, McKenna, Tierney at left centre back, Hanley. There's a lot of centre backs to be taken. So yeah, I'm not sure he gets in unless there's an injury.
Interesting. Okay, I thought McGinn was a positive influence when he came on last night. He was probably the best driving force that I think we saw from midfield. Dougie, is that something that you think is relatively accurate?
Yeah, McGinn was good when he came on. Just the way he receives the ball and carries the ball and drives forward. I thought he was good when he came on. He looked to add that sort of, I think he came on probably the last 20 minutes with McLean, didn't he? So he does add that sort of dynamism, not necessarily out and out pace, but he does offer that aggression and that sort of driving with the ball, trying to make things happen. So I thought he was good when he came on.
The friendly, I think, has been confirmed now for after the Curacao game. I'm sure it was Stuart McKinley. I saw his good Scotland fan to follow on Twitter. I was ear to the ground. It's Bolivia, I'm sure, that we have after the Curacao game, because they were beaten, I think, in their playoff last night. So I'm sure they were anyway. Let me just double check that. Sure, Iraq beat them.
Iraq.
Iraq. Yeah, Iraq beat them. So I think Bolivia are our final warm-up opponents for the tournament. Although, are they not? There's going to be a kind of behind closed doors friendly as well, is there not? I'm sure at the training camp in North Carolina, I'm sure that they're having a third game that's just like a bounce game at the training centre rather than at a stadium. So
I read that was potentially Norway.
Oh God.
If it's a bounce game behind closed doors, then that's
No, cancel that. So it'll be Curacao and Bolivia, and I think that it is a matter of urgency that we. I mean, how are we supposed to figure it out when we don't have games or training camps in between time? But we need to be able to, like if we have the Curacao game and we are similar as we have been to the last two, where we look a wee bit lost for ideas and we're scratching our heads every time we're approaching their box. I think that it is going to be a huge issue, and I just hope that we can quickly remedy that. I know that I am kind of a bit of a unfortunately natural cynic or skeptic when it comes to the national team, which is quite ingrained in me. But can you guys find a reason for me to remedy that over the next few months and tell me, it's actually not as bad as you think? Dougie, I'll come to you first.
You're maybe better getting Alan to help you out with that, and I'm similar to you. No, I mean, I think they've found a way. They've always found a way over the last sort of period in terms of qualifying for the World Cup. Hearing some of like Stevie Naismith's interviews and stuff over the last few months, I feel like they have took some learnings from the Euros, or at least it seems that way. I think again last night they did seem to learn from the Japan game, where they were more aggressive for spells. We've got Doak to come back. We've got Hickey to come back. So yeah, I think those two players make a massive difference to the quality of the team as well. So yeah, when those come back, I think we'll be in a much better place and a much better sort of attacking threat. So that's my spiel to help you out a little bit.
Alan, can you give us a wee ray of sunshine here?
Yeah, I'm just going to echo again what he said. So we've got players to come back. We played two quite different styles there against opposition who were better than us, clearly better than us, and we competed in both games. We learned some information about new squad members. We integrated people got their first caps. So, and as you say, maybe both goalkeepers got 45 each. So Clark's got a better idea how they're looking. So we have learned an awful lot from that camp. And Curacao, I was just checking there, they lost 5-1 against Australia in their friendly last night. There's opportunity there. Bolivia obviously lost to Iraq. There's opportunity there. I think from those performances in this camp, it's all going to depend on how those two go. Clark mentioned that momentum's not. He doesn't really believe in momentum, and he doesn't know how that impacts and whatever. And I think that's not fair to say. The only momentum is only you only find out about momentum at the tournament, and then you can find out whether it was positive or negative. I think he maybe made reference to that. But if these two friendlies, the behind closed door one, that's fine. We'll just ignore that. If it's against Norway, we'll just ignore it even exists. If we can get two really positive results in the Curacao game and Bolivia game, and I know we've not really had those totally, but if the players come back who won back, we go in with that aggression, we get good performances, we get the team to score. You only need a game. So if you get a couple of games like that, we could be in a really, really good position. Looking at the Haiti game of, you'd almost say maybe similar quality. I know they won the group, but similar quality to the next two friendlies.
Mhm. It's quite mad, isn't it, that we will play 7 games in a row against no European opposition? Like, surely that is by miles the longest run in that regard we've ever had in our history. So yeah, I'm still a wee bit bothered by Robertson after the game last night. Just kind of saying, no, if we lose now, we get booed. That's just the way it is. It's not it. That is not it. If we had played really well and got beat 1-0 last night, you would not have got booed. It's just not the, and I'm worried about the message or the mindset here. If that's what the players are thinking, that we can be doing without this disconnect. And I hope that somebody at the SFA knows that that's not the reason the players are being booed because they lost 1-0 to Ivory Coast. It's because we are worried about the tournament coming up when we're watching performances that suggest we are quite unsure on how to score a goal. And I think that is really the worry ahead of the two warm-up games and the tournament kicking off against Haiti, a game that's going to carry loads of pressure because we have to, I think, win that before we play Morocco and Brazil. And I think that it is a good thing, though, it is the first game, because if we were heading into it needing to beat them in the third match, then, oh, I don't want to go there. So, yeah, we'll call it there, lads. That's been pushing an hour. So thanks very much for coming on. We will be back next week, continuing the Hampden Roar now that the international break is over. I think we're back, Alan, for On the Plane. It must be time for the next On the Plane. So I think maybe we could get involved with that next week. Send in
Are we doing
again.
a 55-seater?
Fucking hell. Oh, we could probably do something like that for a laugh at some point, yeah. Or come to an agreement on 55. Yeah, that sounds like good fun. So yeah, we'll do an on the plane next week. We've got loads more to come as well over the next, what's that, 2 months, pretty much till the squad announcement. Weekly episodes. So thank you very much. Remember, we're on Instagram now. We'll be posting clips and videos there. On Twitter, as always, the episodes are on YouTube as well. So if you'd rather watch us chat rather than just listen to us, then by all means give us a subscription on YouTube. And if you'd like to have more Scotland content in your ears, you can download the A Nation Again audiobook, which is the story of our qualification for the Euros in 2020. I spoke to a lot of the players for that, and it's basically like a massively long podcast if you want to buy that and listen to the players tell the story of how we qualified for those Euros. So thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week for an On the Plane. Dougie, thank you very much for spending your lunch break with us. And Alan, thank you very much for coming on as always. We'll be back soon.